What is up, game changers? Welcome to the end game. My name is Juniper Bloom Mystique. I am an Ascension Master, Master Healer, and Divine Guide. That is the easiest way to understand who I am and what I've done. First of all, I want to give a shout out to those that actually heard the call. They heard the call to help me balance some Christ light and masculine and feminine energies the other day for what is going on in the world, in the earth. For if you're new here, I encourage you to watch this channel because what I'm about to say to you might not make sense otherwise. I'm not normal. I'm not a starseed and I'm not a light worker, and I am by no means any title of religious form. I am, in fact, the one who brought about the ascension. This is very real. I have felt it. I have almost died on my journey, and I had a twin flame die as well. Now, that happened through and to me through a Kundalini awakening in 2019, for those who do not know. From there, I started doing healings on people I didn't understand, that I've never seen done, never done before, and I've never seen anybody else do as well. Then after that, I was doing things to the earth. I would just follow Spirit's nudge every step of the way, and I would never let anything stop me from that. What that means is when Spirit said, hey, do this, I would do it. And if I didn't know how, I would learn how. So then I started doing workshops because they told me to. And that started a long road of bringing back the return of Christ. That is who I am and what I've done. If you're not aware yet, you're living out every lifetime you've ever had. It is playing out in this lifetime now. Okay? It is playing out in this lifetime now. Every lifetime you've ever had. Why? Because this is the end of ways. And for some, it is the end of days. But not for all. Only for those who do not hold God in their heart and choose not to heal all the way through the path. I have a message from God today, okay? And it is about a prophetic word from God. Shadow is wreaking havoc, and I'm going to show you how. They gave me a message they wanted me to talk about. But really quick, I'll finish in who I am, okay? I started doing workshops, and in them was healings to the earth in every way. It started with clearing Mount Shasta, which was the false veil that you guys all knew and were all well engulfed in. Then it went to, after clearing Mount Shasta, activating Fiji. Okay? Fiji was always meant to be the Earth's root chakra. Okay? And Mount Shasta was never filled with light at all. Fiji also had the God portal. That was indeed cut off from all of you. All of this began in the time of Adam and Eve and was not just God's doing. Okay, it was the fallen angels. So essentially, and it went from there to much, much more. I've activated pyramids all over this world, all over the earth. Every workshop I post on my channel is not the entirety of my journey. The entirety of my journey plays out in the path to righteousness because that is the path home. I hold the keys, I surely do, okay, because I have to do heart reviews. I've done a few heart reviews. I've walked people through the gates, all right? This is the end of ways. Now, if you want to know the rest, check out my channel, okay, because it would take me an awful long time to talk about otherwise. But I'm going to tell you right now that God wanted me to say something. This is a prophetic word from God. The shadow is wreaking havoc right now, and it is cutting people off from light. And it doesn't matter if you've gone through the gates or not. If you're not hearing the call, it's an issue. There were supposed to be people hearing the call for the healing the other day. That was supposed to be all twin flames. That is their job. But unfortunately, we've had a lot of mishaps on this journey, and somehow I even survived my first twin flame, which is not normal. The return of Christ that I brought about was essentially Adam and Eve lifetime, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Sekhmet and Horus. Those are the same souls. They're all twin flames. So my main life that I was playing out this lifetime was all of those. You should be playing out your biggest karmic path that you're cleansing out now. Okay, that's what this is all about. And the shadow right now is wreaking havoc. It's going to as the days end out, because all darkness is being removed from this planet. It's going to continue purging it. This is just the beginning of the end. There is no excuse that should take you away from God. The shadow is wreaking havoc. Some are being cut off from the light. Important to know the difference from what is not of God at this time. Okay? I've had people come on here and go, "Are you Christian?" I hold 0 titles of religious beliefs. 0. I am, it's in my name, a mystic. Spirit gave me that name upon my awakening for a reason. Mystic is what Jesus also is, and part of one of my lifetimes. Yes, that is true. And no, I'm not a male. Jesus is actually Jesus and Mary Magdalene. You should never separate the two. You should never separate the eyes of Horus and Ra. You should never separate Sekhmet and Horus. You should also never separate Adam and Eve. They're all the same soul. Okay? And you don't have to believe me. It all played out on my channel, including the return of Christ, the resurrection of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, the undoing of the false Holy Grail, freeing his soul, which in truth took me a long time battling for my own DM. And I was attacked several times over. He didn't die on a cross. The true cross, in fact, is not the cross that they keep showing you with Jesus on it. It is the Ankh. This is the only cross that matters. The only cross that ever has and ever will. So I do not hold a religion. I hold God in my heart. That's what mysticism is. God is in our hearts. Believe in who you are. Thus, you have to do that. You have to believe beyond any shadow right now that is wreaking havoc on who you are. Ego is not of God. If you believe you can do it on your own, that is dangerous. I've had people telling me that. I've had people cut me off thinking they can do it on their own. And if I am truly the one who brought it about, which I am, that's cutting God out of your life. Okay? And if you cut God out of your life or anchor into a false God, you are taking a persona you are taking on a persona that is not truly of you at all. If you are in competition with anyone other than yourself, it'll cut you off from the light. So if you think you're better than anybody else, if you think that you have to compete with others, the only one you should compete with is you. It's ego that says those things. It's ego that says, well, I can do it. I don't need God. I can heal this on my own. It is ego that says that, haha, I made it through the gates and you didn't. Never be in competition with anybody else other than yourself. Religious titles are not of God. They're about to fall in a very big way. God should be in everyone's heart, not in some building. He's not under the title Christians over any other title. None of those titles are true. We're all connected in truth. Okay? If you are focused on placing others beneath you, that is not of God. If you are afraid of following what God places in your heart or gut, that is ego in the shadow. God will always provide. If you only focus on you, you know better than God, you can do it your way, this is also not of God. God asks you to follow his nudges and help others too. It's to help others through. It's not just about you, and it's not in your timing. It's in God's timing. Always. No, they want me to say this. This is not from my ego. I'm not a starseed. I'm not a light work, and I'm not human. Okay, I'm not. No one can do what I can do. Okay, no one. If you think you can, that is eliminating God, right? This is what I'm talking about. There's people who've come towards me, well, I'm already healing. And they cut me off and they judge me. And essentially they don't realize that they're knee deep in their shadow. You can't do this without God. You have to co-create. This has to be a co-creation. You have to follow the nudges of God. You have to be able to hear your heart. And you can only do that if you've completely healed all of your heart. That's what the Egyptians would depict on the hieroglyphs, right? The heart review. They would measure your heart. That's the heart reviews that I talk about that I've actually done. I've done 4 of them essentially. I'm not like all of you. So when I tell you I hold the keys, that's true. When I tell you I actually have the path to righteousness, that's true. Okay, you need to ignite your heart space. It's supposed to be about love. If you truly even watch, you don't have to partake in the healing that I did the other day because very few actually showed up for it. But it was recorded in the Akashic Records who did show up. Okay, and I also noticed that day it cut others off from the light. And that makes me sad every time that happens. And this is not about fear. This is about understanding who the true God is. How to hold God in your heart. How to feel good about it. How to show love. How to be love and only love. Because that is what we need. Just making it through the gates isn't even the end in itself. And it's 11:11 as I say this. 11:11:11 that I see right now. Okay? So, that is the point, okay? We shouldn't be doing this alone. It's not just about you. It's not about ego. It's not about the shadow. The shadow is wreaking havoc. They're trying to take anybody down that they can. And they're going to continue to do so because they're being pushed out. So you have to be very strong. And strength is in you more than you know. You're stronger than you know. It's just most people don't believe they are. They don't even know they are, and they don't even know who they are. They're so engulfed and ingrained in the shadow, they can't see clearly. You cannot ever separate Adam and Eve. You cannot separate Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and you cannot separate Sekhmet and Horus. And that is what happened to all of you. And it's in the heart still. There's a huge separation. When I did the protection the other night for Israel, I saw this more and more. I could feel the light go out of more and more people. And it should be coming on more and more and more. And instead, the shadow can feel like it's winning at this time. It needs to be a bigger push of love than it is of the shadow. It needs to be a bigger push of union than it does of the shadow. I survive every attack, but it doesn't mean I'm continually feeling the attacks coming. They've come from the time I started this journey. And it won't stop until it's done. Okay? We are out of time to completely heal. You've got to heal, you've got to heal, you've got to heal. And people think they're already healing. And I can assure you, most are not seeing clearly still to this day. And if you're really paying attention to who's getting the messages, who's getting the accurate messages, you're going to know. If you're paying attention to who's hearing the calls, are you? That's what matters. Are you hearing the call? Because if you're not, others can't either. We are all a light, and we are all meant to help shine that light for others to see the way. Period. It's not about who's going to judge you. Judgment is not of God. It's not about carrying what title. Do not ask if I'm a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew. None of those matter. We are all of God. We're supposed to be united in the heart, which is in love. In love. And instead, I feel the ego and the shadow wreaking havoc. There is no excuse that should be able to take you away from God. No excuse should be able to take you away from God. Not money, not fear, not judgment of others or of self. Nothing. Not even fear of the unknown. We aren't supposed to know everything, ever, because you're a powerful creator. You're not weak like they've told you. We don't need to count on them. They take your power away. Make sure you are rising in love and in the union, and stand strong in that at this time. Because the shadow is wreaking havoc, and it will continue to do so. Stand strong in the unity of love. A majority of the Bible is false, and yet people hold so strong on to that. They believe in that. Well, if I'm Christian, then I'm this. That's a division, don't you see? Any religious titles are divisions. What makes Catholics better than Christians? What makes Muslims to be feared? only fear and the push of fear itself. Only those running your world that were not of light at all. Pay attention to what's really going on around you, my friends, because people are being anchored in at this time. And I'm having to cut off light, and I don't like doing that. I don't want to dim your light. Shine it bright. God is sending a call, but can you hear his, or are you hearing the shadows? Know the difference. So much love, my friends. I will see you next time. And thank you again to those that came to hear the call to help me the other night. I have asked for the angels to send you gifts. Until next time.